Hello YouTube. I have two things to talk about today. One of them is the cost of sniping, and the second one is AirsoftGi G700. So, I'm going to start with the G700, and there's a lot of hype around this gun, especially if you look at some of the reviews. They all say, oh yeah, it's a great gun, go buy it. No, don't buy it. If you buy it, I kind of feel bad for you because you did sort of get ripped off, because if you think about it, the parts you're probably going to end up replacing anyways, mainly because they use the 45 system, which, okay, not going to get started over there. Anyways, you're going to probably replace the parts with some much higher quality parts, like Lilacs or PDI, stuff from those companies. They make good parts. They're expensive, but they're really good. The other thing I want to talk about is the cost of sniping. A couple of years back, like when I first started sniping, you needed a very high budget in order to build a skirmishable sniper rifle. Most expensive part is the cylinder assembly. Everything inside the cylinder, including the cylinder, as well as the trigger. Let me think about this. I think the PDI V trigger runs for about $150, and the Lilacs Zero trigger runs about $230. Those are very expensive. This is probably the most important part of the sniper rifle, because you need those to work, otherwise the gun won't fire. And a couple of years back, you really needed those parts to work and to have a ridiculously high FPS, around 550 FPS, 0.2 is even higher than that. It's not like ridiculously high, it's just that if someone's not responsible with it, shoot someone below the medium engagement distance, it's gonna hurt someone really, really badly. But over the past couple of months, couple of years, the price of sniping has gone down dramatically, mainly because of the RHOP. So with the RHOP, if you install it correctly, you can have a gun that shoots 250 feet easily without spending any money. None at all. Just do some mods, put it in there, get it to work correctly, and you have a gun that shoots 250 feet. I believe the stock JD-Bar-10 shoots around 430 FPS, so that's around like M120, M130. I mean, that's a good speed, because there are people who can build an M4 that shoots 400 FPS with .2s, but reach out 300 feet with .3s. Obviously, those require a bit more money than just throwing in an RHOP, but you get the idea that it's much cheaper. That being said, you can reach farther without that much money, but AEGs can do the same, which means you still need very high quality parts, so you can push that over to AEGs, because they're accurate up to 200 feet, and they have rate of fire, which means you have to build sniper rifles that can reach past 300 feet, which is why you need high quality barrels, 6.23, 6.23. Not 601, not 6.03, not 608, 6.23. I don't remember the company that makes them, but yeah, they make a 6.23 barrel. It's probably the best barrel out in the market right now. Go check it out, go search on Google or something. Anyways, the 6.23 barrel basically allows air to pass through it and to minimize the bouncing around of the BB inside the barrel, because if you have a very tight bore like a 608, 601, it's going to bounce around in the barrel a lot, which is going to throw off the trajectory. So those run about $90 for a VSR-10, and you also need like a high quality hop unit, preferably PDI, but no, not really sure how well those work with the RHOP unit. With the Lilacs it probably works very well. Another thing you're going to need is the better cylinder parts, piston, spring guide, trigger, cylinder. You're going to want those, which is why the AirsoftGi G700 is sort of a waste, because you're going to have to replace those anyway. Because if you're going to run high FPS, like around with an SP190 spring, that's about 600 FPS or 500 FPS .3s. Actually, a little bit over that. You're going to probably end up replacing the parts, because the way the 45 design, it pushes the piston up, which makes it a very, very fragile system. So because of that, it's going to start slam firing no matter how well it's custom tuned, how well it's how well you put it together. It's going to start slam firing eventually. Get a 90-degree system, you don't have to worry about that ever. Just gonna give you some time to soak that in. Never had to worry about slam firing ever. just because the 90-degree system is just way better than the 45, which is why, part of the reason why I think the G700 is just a waste, because it uses 45 system. Now I know that the new AirsoftGi G700 runs on a 90-degree system, so they use a clone Action Army Zero Trigger. So it's a clone off the Lilac. So I'm not going to talk about those because I have no experience with it. By the way, this gun isn't mine, it's a customer's. He's paying me some money to do some upgrades into all the R-Hop, custom work, stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, another thing I want to talk about is the G700 rail. It's very interesting. You can see it's quite long. And they say what it's used for is you can have your scope mounted right here, but in front of the scope you have night vision. Problem with that is, look at this. It flexes. It's just a slab of metal. If it's a slab of metal, it bends. What they need to do is have to cut out a piece of the middle. So right here, along this part, they're like rails. So this way it minimizes the amount of bend you can have. So that's what they have to do. Otherwise, it's pointless because it's just gonna like, you know, bend. It's kind of pointless. Yeah. So there's that. So if you're thinking about buying the G700, don't buy a VSR10 and upgrade it. Simple as that. Just do it. Alright. Tomorrow I'm going to be getting a bunch of Lilac parts inside, so I'm going to do a comparison between my parts, the one for my personal VSR10, the Lilac parts, and the G700 parts. I'm going to be making a comparison video for that. So the parts I'm running is a PDI Raven cylinder and a PDI V-trigger. Other than that, everything else internally is Lilacs, except for the barrel and the hop-up chamber. But you know, those are irrelevant as of right now. Anyways, I ordered the Teflon cylinder from Lilacs as well as the Zero Trigger, so I'm going to probably be doing a comparison video on that. And yeah, just keep in mind what I said. Don't buy the G700. If you do, poor you. Anyways, thanks for watching.